I'd like to call the July 2nd, 2026 Utility Advisory Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 3 members here today, which is a quorum. At this time, I'd like to ask for any members of the public to come forward. They're welcome to make comments about utility matters or items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. Seeing as we have no one come forward today, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member for study. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted upon by one motion with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. Are there any items any members of the commission would like removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Commissioner Augustine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Seeing as there is no old business on the agenda, will we move on to new business? And as requested by our director, David Hunter, we will move number 4 of the consent of the agenda to number 1. Number 4 is consider a recommendation to the City Council to award the Phase 2 construction and final design portion of the Progressive Design Build contract for the Hillsdale Water Treatment Plant Intake Structure Project, CIP, project number WA 2203.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jake White. I'm with Burns McDonnell and here representing the Burns McDonnell and CAS joint venture to talk to you and provide an update and related to the raw water intake project. So as I said, I'm with Burns McDonnell, Jake White, I'm the project manager. We also have
Ryan Arkowski with CAS, part of the joint venture.
and Ryan is our construction manager, and also here with us tonight is Darren Huck, who is the design manager. So really appreciate your time today. So I've got a little presentation for you all, just again to talk about the raw water intake project. So obviously we're going to start off talking about the existing intake that you have out there, talk about the need for this project, the need for the new intake, the scope of the project, then getting into what is the cost and the schedule, and then talk very briefly about what some next steps are that we have. So let's talk a little bit about the existing intake. All right, so this should kind of give you a lay of the land. It's on Hillsdale Lake. You can see here on the northeastern corner where that star is. That is where your existing intake is located. It was constructed back in the late 1990s, about 1997 when that thing was put into place. Hard to believe that that was almost 30 years now that intake was constructed. So yeah, you can see right here in this graphic, that is where it is located. A couple things I want to point out is as you make your way onto the site, the intake itself is actually down a gravel drive, kind of a sloped gravel drive to get to the intake itself. It is an exposed intake. As you can see here, you can see the boom crane, you can see the pumping systems and the gates that are located down there. This is a view of the intake from the lake itself. You can see electrical conduit being run on the outside of that concrete that is used to provide power to the pumps. This is a view of the electrical and chemical feed rooms. You can see the fence located around that. You've got a generator that's located out there as well. On the right side of this photo, you see that concrete structure, if you will. What that is the secondary containment for chemicals that are used at the intake, right, to help with water treatment. So right now, that chemical feed system is exposed to the environment, right? The top of it's open. You've got a concrete wall that's around it. Interesting enough, that tank that stores those chemicals, it's sodium permanganate is the chemical, it is leaking and is no longer in service, right? It is damaged. So what the operators have had to do is they've had to bring in totes of chemical. You can see these totes, these boxes here with that reddish pink liquid. That's the permanganate, right? So you've got things that are actively failing located out here at the intake. You've got the chemical feed systems are actively failing. In addition, the pumps themselves are failing, right? So just a couple things I want to talk about related to the need of the project overall, right? So why is the city going down the road of providing a new intake for the public water system? Well, it comes down to reliability, okay? It comes down to safety, and it comes down to capacity. It is worth noting that this is the sole source of water for the city, right? There are no other intakes that occur. So anything that jeopardizes the ability to pull water out of Hillsdale Lake and send it to the water treatment plant is really a very, very critical part of providing water to the city. So when we talk about reliability, why is that important? Well, since 2018, the pumps themselves have been repaired over 20 times, right? It's a very routine issue that the operators face, right? And it creates a lot of challenges. If you have to take a pump out of service, your reliability goes down, your redundancy goes down. Routine repair of the chemical feed system. So they're out there 3 to 4 times per year repairing the chemical feed system, and now it's at a point where that bulk storage tank is no longer operational, so now they have to finagle these totes in and out and connect them up. In addition, outdoor equipment, if it's sitting outside, requires more frequent repairs. And we're seeing that down there at the intake as well. Further, you've got telemetry issues. That's the communication between the water treatment plant and the intake. It goes down periodically. HVAC issues, again, routine maintenance associated with that, with the hoist. They've had to have some electrical repairs, running new electrical wiring, right, because of the age of the system and because of its service area, right, its service location being located outside. When we talk about safety, and I probably should have put safety as the number one item here as to why this project is important, right? We talked about that sloped gravel drive down to access those pumps. You actually have to back down that sloped gravel drive, and I'm sure you can imagine in times when it's icy, when it's snowy, right, the challenges that creates and the safety issue that creates. Because again, these pumps, as they exist right now, are falling out of service and have to be repaired, so therefore you have to drive on that slope gravel. The leaking chemical tanks and piping obviously creates a safety issue and frequent maintenance. In and of itself, the more you have to maintain equipment, the more you have to turn wrenches, the bigger the safety issue is. And then finally, let's talk about water treatment capacity or production capacity. Right now, that intake is capped out at 6 million gallons of water per day. Okay, we all know that the city is growing. And as the city grows, water usage grows. You can see that at your wastewater treatment facility as well, right? You are expanding that because of expansion and growth within the city. It occurs with the water side as well. So that existing intake is capped out at 6 million gallons per day. What we're going to do is increase the capacity up to 9 million gallons a day. That could then be expanded with the addition of another pump up to 13.5 million gallons a day. That'll get you all the way up to 12 million gallons a day of water treatment plant capacity. And this falls in line, again, with a number of initiatives the city has for increased water production, right? You've got the transmission main project, you've got the intake project, high service pumping at the water treatment plant. And when you look at water demands, so again, you guys are capped right now at that intake at 6 million gallons per day per the latest master plan. And around the year 2030, right, that capacity is going to be exceeded. So I've got that red circle that's located on here. So per the last master plan in 2030, it's anticipated to be about 6.4 million gallons per day of water usage in a maximum day condition, which is what we have to design around, right? So the timing of this is incredibly important to get that 9 million gallons per day that could then be expanded very easily into the future. All right, let's talk about the scope of the project. So it's actually the new intake is going to be located right adjacent to the existing intake, right? And we're going to improve the site. We're going to improve that gravel drive. This is a cool 3D rendering of what the actual building itself is going to look like. We're going to have the pumps enclosed within a building with a hoist to improve maintenance, improve safety of that. And everything that's below grade is basically that gray line. You guys can imagine that's all been sunk down and below grade. This is what it's going to look like from above. And I'll go from right to left. Here you've got 4 vertical turbine pumps, so the type of pumps is going to be changed from what's existing out there to improve reliability. Then you get into the electrical room. Everything's housed together. HVAC improvements located there. And then you have the chemical feed building on the very far left, where you see those 2 circles are the bulk storage tank for the chemicals. Those are going to be located inside. Eye washes, all of the safety features that are associated with that. This is an engineering drawing, basically showing the same thing. And this is a view of what it looks like from the side. You can see it's a pretty deep intake, and there are, on the very lower right side, you see those 3 yellow pipes. Those are the 3 intake pipes that extend out into the lake itself. Another thing I'll bring up is currently right now you have 3 intakes that go out into the lake. The very bottom one is completely silted up and is no longer usable. So you guys have reduced the amount of ability to pull water from 3 down to 2 because that bottom one is currently silted up. So this is the
It's
location of the,
currently what?
they're silted. So you've got
okay.
siltation within the lake, right, that just over time has caused that very lower intake to be completely covered up. So let's talk a little bit about the project cost and the schedule. So, this is a progressive design build project. So what we are talking about is moving forward into phase 2 of this, which is completing detailed design, and it's the actual construction activities itself. So the project cost is $20.8 million. I rounded that just for ease of discussion. And it's worth noting that of that $20.8 million, we have $415,000 of what we call owner-controlled allowances. Right? This is money that we set aside for the project that if that is not used, that 100% of that goes back to the city. Anything that's not used goes back to the city. So this is not kind of within our pot of the project, but these are items that we have identified as saying you should set money aside to accommodate this. If you don't use all of that, that goes back to the city. Right? So within that $20.8 million is $415,000 of owner-controlled allowances. And then real quick on the project schedule, and I guess Ryan's been standing up here all nice and pretty for us, so maybe you could just chat real quick about the project schedule.
Yeah. So we boiled this thing down to get it on a slide here. But essentially, a lot of this now is we're roughly at about a 60% design. We are then taking it to that IFC or issued for construction documentation. So that's taken us through here early 2020. Design will be done kind of mid-fall. A lot of that first step for us is permitting through the Corps of Engineers. Hillsdale Lake is a Corps permitted lake, so they have a heavy say in what we do, the permits that need to go in, as well as KDHE. So we got a pretty decent chunk of time here to get through that. And then once we get into construction, which is looking kind of early Q2, probably into March here of 27, I'd say the first 12 months of this project is really just building the wet well. Right, Jake showed a rendering of that, basically the wet well where those intake lines feed into. So that's 50 foot in the ground at the edge of a lake. And so we got to build that, which is a challenge because you got a lake sitting right there. We also have lines that extend out into the lake, obviously with the screens to pull in. So that's a lot of the time that we spent on this thing so far is finding out ways to how to build that, how to maintain access for the current operators so they can continue to service the existing intake and do it safely. Once we get done with actually building the wet well out, then we're looking here, it's kind of that 4th bar down, that building shell, foundations and shell. So that's going to be late Q1 of 28. So that's when the building actually happens. And that's where a lot more construction activities. It's when the building goes in, the foundations, we start putting pumps in, the chemical tanks, electrical, this thing wraps up pretty quickly after that. Overall, the new intake will be done here end of September 28. Then once that's tested, prove it out, we've making sure that everything is operating like it should be, then we'll take down your existing intake. Again, the goal is to make sure that the plant staff can always use that. We're maintaining access. It's basically a reliable source of water for the city. Once everything's proven out, then we jump into decommissioning. We're not taking out the old intake. That was part of our discussions, is we'll take the old pumps out, but it is still a usable structure. So whatever the future holds with, again, way past what our current structure could be used as a backup or other options. We felt, in discussions with the plant staff, might as well leave it. It's a usable thing that could have some benefit to the city here in the future. The rest of the
So maybe I
structures,
missed it. Is the new construction going to be next to?
Yes.
right next
Okay.
to, yep.
Yep.
So we're about 30 foot away, so it's tight.
Yeah, you can't, so this didn't show very good transparency, but you can see, golly, I wish I could point, you can see on your computer. That big box, you can see a very small light box to the right side of that, that's the existing intake. Yeah, so it's located very, very close, right? So I think it's just important to understand that we're leaving the existing intake in service while we're constructing this. A lot of time and effort has gone into making sure that we're gonna be able to produce water while we're doing construction activities. Okay, so next steps. So there are still a couple of legal terms, like terms and conditions, that we're working our way through. There's a couple of those that are still out there that we've been working with the city's attorney, and obviously the city on that. We're hoping to have that wrapped up within about a week. So I'm not anticipating any issues there. Hoping to present this project to the city council in that second meeting of this month, which is going to be July 20th. We didn't feel like, the timing of meeting on Monday would make a whole lot of sense. So we're looking to go July 20th, at which point we would finalize design, finalize permitting, then go through the procurement effort, and then finally construction. So that's just to give you guys an update. That's where we're at with the project. And again, a couple legal terms that we're hoping to iron out, that we will iron out, and pending that, presenting to City Council on July 20th.
You don't anticipate any problems with the ironing out of the?
No, we don't. We've been having really, really good dialogue. I am not an attorney, right? So I don't speak that language incredibly well, but we're right at the very, very end. We've hammered out a lot of the the back and forth that we have. I'm not anticipating any issue whatsoever with finalizing that.
And the existing structure out there, is there any chemicals leaking?
Interesting
Anywhere?
enough, yeah, I'll go back to that picture. It's a great question. And so the answer is that they were leaking into a containment basin that's out there, right? So they were not leaking onto the ground or leaking into the waterway, right? So the containment that was constructed out there did its job, which is if there is a leak, it stores those chemicals. But yeah, that actually was actively leaking from a fitting at the bottom of that storage tank. So they had to basically take it out of service.
Whenever there is construction to repair something, how long has it been out of service?
Which,
The old one, the existing one now?
yeah, so you're talking about that chemical tank?
No, if you have to stop the system and make repairs, how long has it been out of service?
Yeah, how long do you have? It's a matter of hours. It's a matter of hours if it's out of service, completely out of service. There is some ability to mitigate that within the water treatment plant itself, right? So you do have some, I'll call it storage at the water treatment plant, but it's not a lot. Do you remember the
So if
conversation?
this structure goes down, you have within hours to get it fixed.
Correct. What's that?
3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours. Yeah, it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight. Critical infrastructure.
And part of that is stuff like the bridge crane that we built into that. It's systems for this new intake to help mitigate that and make that process go faster and easier. If they have to repair a pump, they have the means and methods built into the structure to do it quickly.
And safely.
Well, I'm glad you're trying to finish the project up by April of 2028, because it looks like we will need it in 2030.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So that's per the last master plan, and growth projections are always an interesting thing, right? Never 100% accurate, but you see it around town. Gardner's growing. There's no doubt about it, right? Gardner's open for business, and it just takes one industry to come in, and water demand can increase.
What would happen to not meet that deadline? What would be some of the obstacles that you would run into?
We've done a really good job of understanding and coordinating the permitting side of this. So I do not believe that that's going to be an issue that we have. anything from the construction side, I mean, we evaluate all of those items and come up with contingency plans in order to address it, so we do meet the deadline. You know, a force majeure, for instance, like an tornado or a flood or something like that, right, could impact the overall timing of the project. Things that are out of our control, but having contingency and plans in place to be able to mitigate that as best as we can.
Does anyone have it?
Those are great questions.
No, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you all. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to consider the recommendation to the Phase 2 construction and final design portion of the Hillsdale Water Treatment Plan intake structure.
All motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Augustine, seconded by Commissioner Edwards. A recommendation to the City Council to award the Phase 2 construction and final design portion of the Progressive Design Build contract for the Hillsdale Water Treatment Plant Intake Structure Project, CIP, project number WWA 2203, to the joint venture group of Burns and McDonnell and CAS Constructors, LLC, not to exceed $20,803,810. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a mouthful.
Good job, Barb. We got them down to $20,000.
Bye.
We'll write it up that way.
Okay, next item under new business is item number 1. Consider a recommendation to the City Council to adopt the resolution authorizing the final execution of the contract modification to the power purchase agreement with the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency.
Good evening, folks. I'm sure you remember here, it hasn't been too long ago, we come to you with a authorization to go negotiate a contract with Grand River Dam Authority and KMEA to purchase or get contracted an additional 7 megawatts of firm capacity power for our wholesale power bills coming in, and try to firm that up. We've been through those negotiations. We've got a pretty good deal. It's basically the same terms and conditions that you approved back in March of 2025, I believe it was, when you signed renewed the 4 megawatt contract with them. So it's basically the same contract, same language, same everything. It's just an additional 7 megawatts is what it is. So I think they gave us a pretty good deal. I think we got a pretty good deal. And I would recommend that you guys would approve that agreement to take that contract to the city. Unless you have some questions.
Is there additional funds associated with this?
Well, what will happen, Barb, is our power bill from Grand River Dam Authority will go up because we're buying more power from them. But the ideal philosophy with it is that the 7 megawatts that we're buying will be a firm power cost, and we won't be out on the market buying power that potentially could be higher. There's times when the market is cheaper, but there's a lot of times the market's higher. So we're going to lock our power price in and hopefully bring our total wholesale power costs down, which will help control rates a little bit.
So it's dependent on what we use though still.
Correct.
But you won't have to go to the market to get the extra.
Correct. And the big thing for us anymore is the wintertime. This is going to firm us up a little bit in the wintertime. That's when we got our most volatility on the market, is buying all that power in the market during the wintertime. And now we've got that power locked down for a price. We know what the power is going to cost us from Grand River Dam Authority. It's a firm contract.
Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I don't think so. The meeting that you referenced from a year and a half ago almost is coming back. I remember that back and forth, that wanting a really good deal at the time. So, yeah, if they've approved the extra capacity at the same price as then. So it seems like at the time we were discussing extra capacity, but it wasn't at the same price.
Mhm.
So, okay. No, I think I'm good.
I'd entertain a motion.
All motion?
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Augustine, seconded by Commissioner Edwards, to recommend to the City Council to adopt the resolution authorizing the final execution of the contract modification to the power purchase agreement with the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move on to item number 2. Consider a recommendation to the City Council to adopt the proposed text amendments to the city's schedule of fees and the electric service standards.
What we have before you here is we'd like to change our schedule of fees on the projects that we do for developments, and then, any work we do outside, whether it's a accident or construction, to actual cost. We have one scenario for development is single-family housing, and we have a fixed price for that. It's a price per lot, and we want to change everything to actual cost. Commercial currently is actual cost, but we also, by going to this actual cost, we want the ability, after we order materials, sometimes we incur additional cost because of tariffs or delivery. Some material we order right now is almost a year out. And so even though we get a quote on that material and a price on it, by the time we get it, there may be some additional costs that the vendor passes on to us. So as we have a developer come to us and say, I'm going to develop this area, we have to try to give him a breakdown of costs of what he's going to incur to get the electrical distribution system installed in his development. And we give him an estimate, but right now we're currently locked in on that estimate. So we order material, we wait for material. By the time he gets there, we might be 6, 8 months, maybe a year out before we get the material for his development, and we've incurred additional costs beyond our control. So what we're proposing here is go to actual costs on all these development projects, plus leave a window in there. We're going to give the developer an estimate based on our best knowledge at the time, bill him 80% of those costs so we can get started with the project. And then once the project's done and we get our true cost from the vendors and the material suppliers, then do an adjustment to bill him actual cost, if that makes sense. It's kind of complicated, but it's the only way I think right now we can protect the city in incurring these costs for some of these development projects, because it shouldn't be absorbed by the ratepayers for these new developments that are going in.
Well, that was my question. How is this going to affect the residents?
It's actually better for them.
Yeah. But how many times did you have the actual cost be below where you had savings?
Well, and if the costs are, that's an adjustment we'll make. We go either way with a true up cost.
No, I mean, the current situation you have now.
Oh, never.
Never?
Not that I'm aware of. I've only been here 6 months too, Barb, but everything I've been seeing so far, that's part of the reason we're doing this. We've got a notice here, I think it's been probably about a month ago, we've ordered some transformers, we did some things, and then the vendor sent us a notice that the transformers were gonna go up 8%. Well, that's 8% that we'll have to eat on those, because we've already ordered those transformers, we've already set those costs for that project. This way, when we get those notices, then that goes into the project moving forward.
And the developer will entail the cost.
Yeah,
Incur the cost.
there you go. But that's why we're wanting to move everything to actual cost. It just, plus, as material over the years, as materials go up, prices change, we don't have to come back to you anymore. Right now, you know, we set those costs, we set these rates, or we set these costs, and we try to set them the best we can, but as things go up, then we're gonna be back here in 6 months, or we're gonna be back here in a year. This way, by going to actual cost, it just takes care of itself.
So is it just a matter of amending the text in the actual schedule of fees?
Yeah, theoretically it is, but it's gotta go through the process.
Right?
But that's all it is. And there's only one, I broke the text down for you in all the places we've got to change it in the documentation.
Oh, okay.
And there's several locations that the text has got to be changed, but really it only affects one, and that is the single-family residential,
Okay. Because the commercial already is
actual cost.
texted that way. Okay. Are there any questions?
Like, how much money are we talking about? Does this cost us? Do you know, like?
That's a number I could not tell you off the top of my head. I could get you a number. if
Well,
you-
I don't need an exact number. I just didn't know if it's
Well, I'll give you a good.
$10,000.
Well, I'll give you a good example. A transformer's, a single-phase transformer's roughly around $5,000. We got a notice that they're going up 8%. And we may order 100 of those for a development. So it could be significant. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it is.
But with the change in the text, you'll be able to charge the actual cost.
Correct. Yeah, we'll do an 80% upfront based on the information we have. We'll order our material, we'll track our material, and then when we go to close the project out, then we'll make those adjustments. If we get a good deal on the material, costs will go down. If
Oh,
we-
okay.
'cause
So
it'll be-
currently, you said we just have a flat fee that we're charging, right? You said?
What we do for the single-family residentials is we have a flat fee right now that's been approved
Yeah,
by you guys and the city council. So that's what it is. Material has gone up since that fee was set.
right. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My question was gonna be, do we currently charge 80% upfront? So we're on the hook for the whole thing in the beginning. And so not only does this make it so that the developer is paying the actual cost, we're actually less
Exposure.
risk for the city, we'll say, would expect asking for 80% upfront. Okay.
Yeah, but
And when you had to have additional costs, you did pass that on to the residents. And
theoretically,
this way, you won't be.
that is correct.
Yeah.
In theory, that was an expense we absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
We try to do our best due diligence and keep that at a minimum, but sometimes you just can't control that.
And so you say commercial has been this way, where it's actual cost.
Yeah, but there's been no true up. So I give on a commercial, I use my best judgment, or Bruce uses his best judgment based on the cost he knows today,
Yeah.
writes them out an estimate, says this is what it's gonna be. Then we go order material, and if we get a tariff spike or we get something that goes on, we stick to this.
For commercial also?
Yes.
So does this change commercial also?
Well, what it's gonna do with commercial is we're gonna have the ability to do the true up. Commercial is still actual cost. It says actual cost,
Okay.
but we don't have anything in our language that allows us to do a true up.
Okay, and this will fix that as well. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, because we should not be eating those costs. So I like it.
I'll entertain a motion.
I motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Commissioner Augustine, to recommend to the City Council to adopt the proposed text amendments to the city's schedule of fees and the electric service standards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we move on to new business item number 3. Consider authorizing the utility director to execute a contract with the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency, KMEA, to conduct a comprehensive electric rate study and design.
I know we all don't like to talk about this.
No, we don't.
But what I would like to do, I mean, with our costs, material costs have gone up, labor costs has gone up. We've got a new wholesale power profile. We've got the solar farm coming online later this year. It's scheduled for December of 2027. We'll get our 15 megawatts of solar. We've kind of changed our profile with the additional 7 megawatts of Grand River Dam Authority. Gas prices have gone up. We've all been seeing that. And I think it's a good time to step back, look at what our expenses are, look at what our power portfolio looks like, how that's going to impact our costs moving forward, and develop a rate that will allow us to be more fair to our citizens, more fair to our commercial customers, and help us keep our cost in our rate fair to everybody. And by doing that, we'll develop what we call a 3-part rate structure, that has basically a monthly charge to have electricity, to have it available for your property. Then there will be with our metering system you guys currently put in place a couple years ago, the Echo One, every meter out there we get a demand reading off of. We can start utilizing those demand readings and set up a demand charge for every customer. Then put a kilowatt hour cost for the unit, for the actual electricity. That is the bottom line, basic, most fair rate structure you can put in place for anybody, because it hits the 3 main components. The fixed monthly meter charge is what it costs us for our fixed cost. It pays my wages, it pays Aaron's wages. Those are costs we incur whether we sell any electricity or we don't sell any electricity. We have a fixed cost every month. The demand cost is part of our power bill. We pay demand charges every month. So we pay for peak summertime, we pay for 47 megawatts of capacity during that peak time. And we're going to take that 47 megawatts and we're going to divide it out over all the customers. Everybody will pay their fair share of the 47 megawatts.
Wait a minute. Everyone will pay the amount that they've incurred?
They've incurred. Everybody will pay their fair share
Okay,
of the 47 megawatts.
Okay.
We'll cut it up in pieces. That's what those demand meters do. They cut that all up into pieces. Everybody pays their piece of the pie. And then the energy component. That's just what we pay. When I get the wholesale power bill, there's the energy component. It's a separate part of that bill. We can look at that. That's what everybody will pay. And that's the way you break that up into the most fairest rate.
what is the energy component? What is that?
That's the kilowatt hour. That is the energy component. The KW is the demand component and the KWH is the energy component. So it's the actual volume, it's the water. Turn on the faucet, it's what you use. The demand is when you turn on the faucet, how hard do you turn it on? How much water do you let flow?
Okay,
That's the demand component.
okay.
But we want to go to KMEA. They're very good. They do a good job. They understand our city. They understand our power bills. They've done a couple rate studies for you guys before. Their cost is very, very comparable to anybody else. So that's
When
why
was the last rate study that we did?
I think you guys did one a couple years ago.
It hasn't been very long.
No, but you did not. If I can remember right, from what I understand, it was not implemented either.
We did a rate study and got the results and did not implement it.
That's my understanding. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I understand.
I'm trying to remember. If I
That was
was here or if that was before my time.
So will this rate structure then be implemented?
I hope so. I'm going to do my best to sell it. I mean, the idea is not really right now is not a rate increase. That's not what I'm proposing here. I'm proposing let's go look at it. Let's develop this rate structure, and then let's start moving forward from there. Because this rate structure will make it a lot easier to implement future rate increases because we can see those components and identify each one of those and where the cost occurrence is happening.
So obviously you feel like the current rate structure is not a satisfactory structure?
We're not utilizing all of our tools in our tool basket is probably the best way to phrase it. We've got a $100,000 metering system out there, and we're billing everybody on the amount of water that comes out of their faucet. That has all three of those components into one unit. It's all in the kilowatt hour cost. So if we sell no electricity scenario, we generate no revenue. If a cool weather comes along in the summertime, our rates are based on selling of kilowatt hours and nobody runs their air conditioners, our revenue is not balanced. We forecasted that we're probably going to have at least a normal summer and we're going to sell this much electricity. But we have that abnormal summer and it's cool and we don't run the air conditioners, it tilts. With the three-part rate structure, if I don't sell any electricity, that component is out of my rate structure. I don't really, it's not that I don't care, but it doesn't have an impact on us as much financially because I know what this was supposed to do, and if it doesn't do it, it doesn't matter because I didn't pay it on my wholesale power bill. If my demands go down, it's the same concept. My biggest problem is my fixed cost, which is Aaron's wages, my wages. I've got to generate at least enough revenue to cover those every month. That's my basis. That's my monthly bills.
Well, I'm not one for having the city, pay more for this, but I'm not one for increasing the residents either. And that sounds like what this is going to do.
Well, it's not, with any rate change, there's always winners and there's always losers. And ideally, a family scenario, a family of 6 that comes home, mom turns on the stove, throws 2 loads of clothes in, one in the washer, one in the dryer, kicks on the swimming pool, and the kids run in the house and turn on 3 TV sets. Their demand is going like this. I come home or you come home and don't turn on the stove, or when you do turn on the stove, you don't have the washer running or you don't have the dryer running, your demand stays down here. less of an impact. But the problem is when you put all the eggs in one basket over here in the kilowatt hour size, I got to figure that out, or the rate people figure that out. And it's really, you're paying for the family down the street that has the 6 kids in your kilowatt hour cost. And this will make it more fair at the end of the day.
Well, I'll be interested in knowing the results of the study just to see how it affects the city's finances, but also how it affects the residents.
It's, KMA is kind of really excited about doing this because there's not very many Kansas communities that are utilizing this 3-part rate structure. Part of the reason is they don't have the equipment like we've got. That's the problem. And we really need to be utilizing that equipment. That's honestly the best and the fairest rate structure.
And this study is going to cost $15,000?
I'm not good with remembering numbers, Barb.
That's what it says. here.
Yep. Yeah, 15,000.
And how long does the study take?
Hopefully we have it done within, 6 to 8 months.
To me, 15,000 is a pretty low amount.
I mean, it definitely is compared to some of the other stuff we've approved in the past. But
That's what I was thinking.
so you say we did a rate study a few years ago. I mean, it's a few years ago. I may not just remember, or it might have been before my time that I was on the board about approving that. So I guess can you tell me why we cannot use the data from the previous rate study
Well,
to do what you're talking about?
the data from the previous rate study was just a monthly meter charge and a kilowatt hour cost. Doesn't have all 3 components. And we need to break that out. It's just, it lumped it all in one basket is the best way I can phrase it. Plus, costs have gone up quite a bit in the last couple of years. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get in front of those costs. Labor, insurance, gas,
Gotcha.
vehicles.
Okay.
But once the study is completed, we can either approve or not approve
That's right.
the results of the study.
This is not gonna be end of the study, bring you results. I anticipate more of, we're gonna get into this a little bit, and we're gonna come and give you guys a report of what we're seeing and what we're finding out,
Yeah.
and the path we're kind of looking at, and then come back to you and say, okay, we've got it done. It's gonna be a big change, and I understand that, and I want input, but it honestly, truly is the best rate structure for the electric you can have.
But you say we're one of the few communities in Kansas that are doing this?
You'll be one of the few communities in Kansas that probably even has it. But you gotta look bigger picture. A lot of the towns are a lot smaller than Gardner. They don't have the infrastructure. You've got the infrastructure, and we're gonna take advantage of it. That's what you paid for. You guys are driving, on the metering side, you guys are driving a Cadillac, but we're still running around in a Volkswagen.
So I know what we're ultimately talking about here is the rate study and coming back with the data and then finalizing the 3-part system and the fees and everything later. But you started talking about it, and I'm still struggling with between 2 and 3. I understand the fixed cost portion of it, but I'm struggling between the demand and the usage, I guess.
When we get a power bill from almost any of our wholesale power providers,
Yeah.
we get a demand charge. The demand charge is how much capacity we have reserved on the system.
Right. So after earlier tonight, that's like 13 point whatever, right?
Well, from Grand River Dam Authority, we're gonna, increase our 4.5 megawatts to 11.5.
Okay.
That's flat KW demand. So every month, we'll get a bill from Grand River Dam Authority for 11.5 megawatts of capacity. That's how much, in a 5-gallon bucket, that's how much water we can get out of that 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
And then there's the water component itself, which is the kilowatt hours.
Right. So, so the kilowatt hours is how much you actually use, right? I have young children and they have devices, right? I probably use more electricity than Barb, right?
Well, the kilowatt hours is the actual water. When you turn on the faucet, it's
Yep.
the actual water flowing. That's the workhorse. That's doing the work.
Yep.
But the demand is how fast you get the water. How fast will it come through your pipes?
So how do you determine demand? Because I think you said everybody pays their fair share.
That is based off of a 1 hour constant usage of kilowatt hours. So if you use 1,000 kilowatt hours in 1 hour, that's a 1 kW demand. If you use 2,000 of those in 1 hour, that's a 2,000 kilowatt hours or 2 kW demand.
Is that just like a random time of the day that we're looking at that hour, or?
It's an anytime peak. So any time of the day you use that large capacity
So the most.
the most, that is when you will be ticketed or marked
For your entire bill, for your entire usage.
for your kilowatt hour demand charge. Because what happens is we've got 11 megawatts of power out there that we've, and 11's not our total, but I'm just going to use 11.5 because that's something you wrap your mind around, because that's what we got for Grand River Dam Authority. When we go outside that circle of demand, we incur a lot bigger additional costs because we had to go buy capacity on the market.
Right. I remember those discussions, yeah.
So we know if we keep everybody inside the 11, we know exactly what those costs are.
So, and again, maybe this is for the future, and if it is, that's okay. I'm still trying to understand this demand portion, right? You're looking, if I use, I think you said a kilowatt an hour, then, that's, the system flags and my demand cost is X. And is it checking every day, all day?
30-day cycle. The
So does that
meters,
mean every 30 days or every day?
it checks every day, but it's a one-time charge for a 30-day cycle, for a billing cycle, for the month.
For the month. So if I have one day where I am using excessive amounts of power, it's going to flag in the system and I'm charged that higher demand cost. Next month, I don't have that anomaly. I don't think I said that word right.
You'll have it-
Then my demand cost is different for the next month because I've not had that.
That's a philosophy.
Okay.
That could be the philosophy. Don't know what the philosophy is going to be because we haven't done the study yet to see.
Okay.
But there could be a summer demand charge. There could be a winter demand charge. There could be a monthly demand charge, or it could be what they call a 12-month demand charge. Don't know, but there's some variables to it.
Well,
Now, what you want to remember, though,
Yeah.
is just, I think our average kilowatt hour cost is about 10 cents right now for electricity. That demand charge is in that 10 cents right now. We're not adding any new charges. We're going to take that 10 cents and figure out how much of that 10 cents is this demand charge, and it's just gonna move over here, which in turn lowers the kilowatt hour cost. Because kilowatts, energy component itself right now is the cheapest piece of the electric that's out there.
So are the bills gonna look different? Are they gonna be itemized?
Yeah, the bills will look different. So it'll be monthly meter charge, a demand charge, and your kilowatt hour component charge. We want to lay it out for the customers. We want them to see what they're doing.
But I think a good description of what each means would be important also.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to understand.
No, it is, but
Yeah,
but that's why we're not going to rush into this. We're going to see what the numbers are, see what the system is, and then we're probably going to have to go through a little, I'm going to call it education process with the customers to have them understand it. But honestly, it's the best way for the customer to help control their own power cost because they can control that demand cost. The customer themselves has the ultimate hammer and the ultimate control over that demand cost. Come home at night, don't turn the dryer on when you're running the stove. Don't turn on 3 TV sets. Don't turn on all the lights in the house. That's what drives the demand component. Is the bigger your load is, the bigger your demand's going to be.
Well, I would recommend that we get a good description of each one of the items that the public can understand in layman's terms.
I agree.
Because, I mean, the electric bill is something that people just do not understand at all. And it's understandable
It is.
that they don't understand.
It's you got to compare it. I mean, really, water's probably the best comparison you can use with it to some extent. And what we're doing is we're just kind of breaking it apart a little bit. But once we get this implemented, or if it does get implemented, there's some other things we can do down the road to even help customers control their own demand. And we can see things that are going on better. If we start bringing those readings in and the customer starts seeing those readings, they can kind of see what's going on. It takes time, to develop that data track or that information, but they'll be able to see and say, oh yeah, last month, we had the air conditioner set at 65 or 60 degrees and my bill went up. Well, this month, put it up there to 65 or 70 or whatever that number is, and you'll see your bills go down. You'll see your demands go down.
Okay.
Are you gonna have like a training session with customer service? Cause I could just imagine them just getting inundated with calls. You know what I mean?
No.
Right, but you said during the study, we will get information that they're finding out.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah, what I envision is we're gonna tear into this. We're gonna look at it, and we're gonna come back and say, this is what we're seeing. This is really why we need to go here. Here's some of the causations, and here's some of the reasoning and the logic to do this. And like I said, I envision if it gets implemented, then I envision a window in there sometime where we get some information out to the public.
Yes.
This is not going to be we're going to raise rates 2% and we throw this at the customers. We want to try to make them understand what they're seeing and why they're seeing this.
And I hope KMEA, is that who's doing it?
Yeah,
Will advise also on some of that.
yeah, they will. They're kind of excited
To
about it.
educate the resident.
Yep, they're kind of excited about it because this will be a footprint maybe for some other communities.
Maybe they'll do it for us for free.
Well, after we get all done, we'll try.
But right now you're asking for $15,000 to just do the study with KMEA. That's what this is about.
Correct.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
All motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Augustine, seconded by Commissioner Edwards, to recommend to the City Council to authorize the Utility Director to execute a contract with KMEA in the amount of $15,000 to conduct an electric rate study. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The presentation we had earlier. So now we move on to discussion items. The first one is the electric reliability indexes for the second quarter report.
I can see I'm gonna have to break this out a little bit better. It's getting hard to read, and I apologize for that. But overall, our electric, I'm gonna call them failures, that's probably not the right terminology, but our outages or electric failures are looking pretty good. We're higher than we were last year, but overall, the system's operating good. We've got more customers out there, so that kind of deflects the numbers a little bit. Our number one enemy out there is still squirrels. They're our biggest problem. But other than that, as far as reliability for the customers, I think the staff's doing a real good job of keeping the lights on.
Where is the outage report? Which column is it? Can you read that?
That's what I'm saying. This right here, I'm reading upside down. That should be
Oh, that one, okay.
2026.
Where it says count, right?
Oh,
Yes.
okay. 86?
I'm gonna change that, because I can see it's not a, I'm trying to bring you a lot of information so you can reference it too, but it's cluttering, so we'll redesign that.
And this is for the quarter or the month?
This is for the quarter.
Any questions?
No?
Okay, the sewer second quarter 2026 repair report.
Line maintenance, they had 7 sanitary sewer line repairs that affected 5 customers, 7 due to residential issues. So that was really nothing on our side. It was residential issues that caused the problems. The average workday response time was 32 minutes. 4 hours, and the work repair time was 4 hours and 57 minutes. There was no after-hour calls, which is really a good sign in more than one ways.
So when you say average, of all the calls, the average was 4 hours?
The average workday repair time was 4 hours and 57 minutes.
That's quite a while.
Yeah, it is that could be, repairing a sewer line, repairing a water line, that's pretty good. It really is. The response time was 32 minutes and the overall average repair times, 4 hours and 57 minutes. Kind of got that doubled up. Didn't notice that.
This is for 11, after hours, so.
Okay.
So that's what it was, yeah.
The guy, I know the guys got down to Kill Creek sewer line. We found some manholes there that were letting in quite a bit of I&I, and the guys got in there, cleaned them all up, got those all sealed up. Don't know how much they improved, but
Yeah.
we're finding a few things and we're getting our hands wrapped around it, so that's good. Line maintenance staff completed 5 water distribution service repairs, affecting 3 customers. 2 were due to residential issues, 3 due to other issues. The average workday response time was 23 minutes. Workday repair time was 1 hour, 23 minutes. No after-hour calls for the quarter. So the water repair crew performance was outstanding again this month.
It's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is. And then just project updates. I mean, all the projects are working good. Everything's going along good. Wastewater treatment plant's plugging away. I think we will be to you guys at the August meeting for phase 2 of the wastewater treatment plant improvements. Other than that, I don't know of anything. Oh, we're probably gonna try to get the detention tank projects, bring those to you guys for approval to get those started. And we've got a roof at the water treatment plant that we'll be bringing to you guys and to get bids for repairs. But other than that, nothing, no other new projects that I can think of off the top of my head. But they do have a tendency sometimes just to pop up out of the clear blue.
And again, I want to thank you, Aaron, for putting all those project updates in the minutes. Does anyone have any questions?
How's the building coming along over on Santa Fe?
Well, have a few issues. We had some code violations with a contractor that's being worked on to get cleared up. Some quality of workmanship, I guess is the best way I can phrase it, that we're trying to get the contractor to clean up. At this point, we've elected to just stay out of the building until those items are taken care of. We think that's the best way to do it. That way, if we're in there, we don't end up with any finger pointing, that sort of stuff. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll get something here maybe by the end of the month or first of next month.
I have a question that I always ask this time of year. Do you anticipate any water restrictions this summer?
Not so far. We've been pretty fortunate with the rainfalls and the moisture.
Well, I hope it'd be better than.
Mother Nature is the one that controls that more than anybody, as you guys are well aware. But
We haven't had
everything's
any water restrictions in the last, I don't know, 5 years maybe?
everything so far is looking pretty good. The staff's doing a good job. We've got the water usage is actually for year to date is actually down a little bit from it has been over previous years. So that's another good sign. So we'll just keep getting the moisture and we'll be good.
Are there any other questions? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Commissioner Edwards,
Second?
by Commissioner Augustine to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.